Hello everybody, welcome to Drawing with Waffles. Last week I posted Beehive Beauty, which was this picture right here, and I got a lot of questions asking how I did that style since it's not my normal style and it's a little bit different. So I got a few questions asking how I did that, so I thought why don't I just show you since I've got a minute, so let's do this. So first what you want to do is draw your picture, which I did. It's right here. I have a sketch, so I named it sketch so that I don't forget where it is. And what I'm going to do is I like to switch this to multiply, and then I'll lower the opacity of the layer. I like to go about 15%. Alright, so now we have a very lowered opacity sketch. We can still see it, but we can also work. Let's create a folder called color where all the colors are going to be. And I like to do every color on their own layer, and then I like to use that as to my advantage. And it's just helpful. And you're doing digital art, use it to your advantage, right? So we're going to create a new layer. Inside the colors folder, we'll call that skin. And then we're going to color the skin. So to do this style, and since there's no line art and we still need to fill in the color, what you can do is just use your paintbrush and color it in, but we're not going to do that. No, that's going to take time and we're lazy, so let's not do that. We're going to grab a skin color. Okay, and we're going to grab this lasso selection tool right here. Click on that, zoom into the skin. We're going to just trace the outside shape of the skin. We're not going to be worried about like the nose and getting all that right. We're just tracing the outermost shape of the skin. Like that. And arm, shoulder goes up a little bit. And then, I'm struggling. My hand's a little twisted, but it's alright. Let's keep going. We can fix it later. Alright. Ta-da! Now we have a shape of her face. And we're going to color that in with the paint bucket tool. Make sure none of these three boxes are checked for this. And then just fill it in. Ba-boom! But now we can't really see the face and we're not sure, where the rest of her face goes. So we're going to unselect that. And we're going to take this sketch that we set to multiply into 15%. And we're going to drag it on top. And if you don't know how layers work, the layer on the top shows first. And layers on the bottom show last, depending on where they are in this panel and organized. So since this layer's on top, we're going to be able to see it, and since it's a very low opacity, we're going to be able to see the colors we made underneath through it. There's actually more areas of skin, so since we're on the skin layer, we can add those now, and there's the hands. We're going to go back to the lasso selection tool and trace the outermost section of the hand, like so. And then we have the hand, and we can fill that in. Now if we look, these two colors, it's the same color, but these two areas overlap, and if we turn off the sketch layer, it kind of just looks like there's a hand coming out of her forehead. Well, it looks like two blobs. But if you picture it properly, it looks like a hand coming out of someone's forehead. Let's turn on the sketch layer. Go back to the skin layer. We're going to lock the transparent pixels, which is this square right there. Click that, and then this little lock appears. That's how you know it's working. We're going to grab the paintbrush, lower the size, switch to a darker color. Just pick a color. Okay. Then we're going to draw a line to separate these two. And since we have the transparent pixels locked, we can't draw outside of the shape, which is super handy. And we're also going to draw this thumb. Like that. And we can separate these two fingers. And then we can also draw the nose if we want. Like so. And any other parts we want to make sure show through in the final drawing. What I really like about this style is it helps you simplify things. It's kind of like an exercise, to simplify your style, which I absolutely love, because sometimes you can get bogged down in the details, and when you finish your drawing, it just kind of looks like, it looks cluttered when you're done. And when you draw it with this style, everything just looks simple, and you can figure the shapes and different things. See, like these fingers, they kind of just look like rectangles. Now, if that bothers you, I understand that can bother some people. So there's a way to fix that, and there's a workaround. So we're actually going to turn off we're going to unlock the transparent pixels. The lock disappears, and now we can draw outside of the shape. And what we're going to do is switch to the color of the skin, and then we can nitpick at anything we want now. So we can zoom in, we can switch to the eraser, and change the shape of these. But we've already got the color there, so it makes it so much easier, and now we can just adjust it as we want. So if that's something that bothers you, you could do that right now. But I think I'm just gonna move on after I fix this. Ta-da! So now when we turn off the sketch layer, we're starting to see shapes. Now the hand doesn't look like it's coming out of it. It looks like it's a little bit more behind. If you want to make it look even more like it's behind, you can actually select this whole thing and gradient that thing. Now it's similar colors, and it looks like it's a little bit farther behind, but we can leave that like that. It's fine. But we still need to do her other hand. So let's turn the sketch layer, and I'll get back to you when I'm done with that. Alright, so this is what we have so far. We've got two hands, a head with no face. It's kind of a blank space, baby, so let's write your name. Yeah. All jokes aside, I think it's time to draw the eyeballs. So we're going to turn on the sketch layer. We're going to zoom in so we can see the eyes. We're going to create a new layer. Call this face. And we're going to call a new layer and then put that underneath the face layer and call it underface. So we're going to go back to the face layer. I like to use black for the eyelashes. I don't know what size. That should be fine. And I like to just draw the eyelashes, the top layer. It's just kind of something I'm into currently. I kind of do it on all my drawings. And I did it especially in last week's drawing, so I'll make sure I include that. This one, it's basically just like doing line art. This is how I would do the line art for the eyes. But it's a little bit simpler because I'm not going to be worried about making it perfect. And then I'm going to give her the eyes. And then I also like to just draw like a couple eyelashes on the bottom. I don't know why, just a thing I do. Then we made the underface layer for this exact purpose. We're going to go to the underface layer, grab some white, and then fill in where we want the white to be. You know what? I think I'm going to give her a little bit more of an expression. So we're going to go back to the top face layer, grab that black color, and draw some line here. So it looks like she's squinting a little bit. You know, she's a little bit happier. So we can go back down to the underface and erase that. Ta-da! Looks pretty good. So far, so good. Next is the lips, and we do that basically the same as the eyes. So we're just gonna draw them in with the paintbrush tool. Then we can use the underface, draw the teeth in. And then if we zoom out, turn off the sketch layer, it's starting to look like something, it's starting to look like a face. But now I'm not really liking the shape of the head, and like I said earlier, we can go in and fix that by switching to the skin layer, making sure the transparent pixels aren't locked, and then just adjusting it with the paintbrush. So I'm thinking what the problem is here is that nose is a little too far forward, and if we draw like a line straight through here, like her nose should probably be coming out of right there. So we're gonna just grab the nose and move it over a little bit, and that looks a lot better. Yeah. See, most problems can be fixed, and we just fixed it. Yay! So, when we're done with that, I think it's about time to move on to the shirt. So we're going to turn on the sketch layer. We're going to do it the same as we did the skin. So we're going to create a new layer, call it the shirt. Call it the shirt, grab our lasso selection tool, and then trace the outside shape of the shirt. Now the shirt is really big, and it's going to take a while to go all the way around. So if you want, you can just do sections. Color that in, grab a yellow color actually, and then fill that in. And then we can continue where we left off. Draw some more. Do this arm. Fill that in. And then do the next section. So it doesn't all have to be done in one part. And that helps you get it right the first time. So if you try to do this all in one go, your wrist is going to get all tied up and janky, and then you're going to be drawing really shaky lines, and nobody wants that. So we're just going to do it in small sections and not worry about it. And then we can also adjust it with the paintbrush and the eraser tool, get it to the shape we want. Always turn off the sketch layer just to see what we're working with, and we notice we missed a few, so we're just going to color that in like that. And now we have her shirt. It's very, very flat. So we need to give it a little bit of dimension. So what we're going to do is start adding the wrinkles. So we're going to grab that color, make it a little darker to contrast with it, shrink it down just a little bit, and start adding in the wrinkles. Just make sure that you have the transparent pixels locked so that you don't accidentally draw outside of the shape. That's really just up to you where you want to put the wrinkles and like how much you've drawn wrinkles to know where they go, but I'm just gonna wing it and say they go around here. That looks pretty good. Looks decent enough. Something like that. So now we're done with the shirt and it's time to move on to the hair. Or we can just throw in the legs because the legs are really simple. I don't think we really need to worry about them, but we're gonna create a new layer. Call that legs. Legs. Grab our lasso selection tool and quickly just draw in the shape of the legs here. And ta-da! That works pretty good. And then of course if I want to nitpick, I just unlock the transparent pixels and come in here and edit it. Now if you want to know what happens if you don't unlock the transparent pixels when you go into erase something, let me demonstrate. So it's locked and we want to like maybe give her thinner thighs. So I come in here and I do it. I'm like, oh, it's working just fine. Like, what's she talking about? It's fine. But wait, once I turn off the background layer, it's still white there. So when you erase with the transparent pixels locked, what it does is it takes your background color, which is this color right here, which I have it as white, and it leaves that as the space. So we don't really want that. Make sure you unlock your transparent pixels when you want to erase something. Now we have a beautiful bald girl, but I really want to draw some purple hair, so let's do that right now. So we got the sketch layer turned back on. We're going to create a new layer, call it hair. And when it comes to hair, if she has long hair, there's some hair that's going to be behind some layers, and there's some hair that's going to be in front of some layers. And how do we do that with one layer? There's probably a way, and it's probably complicated. So I never really figured it out. So I just like to do it in two separate layers. So I make a layer called hair, which I like to put on top of everything. And then I like to have another layer, which I like to call back hair, because it gives me a laugh. And then I put that on the bottom. So we have our front hair and our back hair. And we'll go to the top hair layer, and then let's go in and add that. She has a nice purple hair. Okay. So like we did with all the other colors, we're just going to trace the outermost section of the hair. And not worry about too much. We can always do different sections, but when it comes to hair, I like to put one on top, and I think that's all we need for the top hair because the rest looks like it's pretty much behind everything else. So we're going to go down to our back hair layer that we created, grab the lasso selection tool, and then again trace the outermost of it. And if it's behind here, it really doesn't matter, so like whatever. And then we'll fill that in with purple as well. But I like to separate the two sections a little bit more, so I'll go to the gradient, change our foreground color to something a little bit darker for contrast. And then I'll just draw a gradient in. And then it separates the two sections of the hair. And I just like the way that looks. That's just a personal preference. So if we turn off the sketch, we can see that there's two sections of hair. And I don't know, I like the way that looks. And then another tidbit for hair that I like to do is, let's have the front hair selected. Let's shrink the brush size a little bit. I like to just add extra strands because, you know, hair doesn't really follow any rules. It likes to do what it wants, so I just like to add those random strands anywhere that I think we need them. This is all artistic liberty. Do what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want. Okay, so let's go to the back hair layer and do that as well. Anywhere I want to put it. Ta-da! So now we have her hair, and her hair actually does a little bit of an aerial thing, which I did draw, but I haven't added it yet. So we're going to take the dark color from the back hair, put it on the front. We'll go to the front hair layer, and we'll just draw that in with the lasso tool. Make sure your transparent pixels are locked. Grab our gradient, just sort of draw it in a couple times since I have the opacity really low. And then it's time to add the strands of hair, which I like to do. You don't have to do it if you like it this way, that's fine. Just leave it. I mean, you could call this done, but I like to add the strands of hair inside of the clumps. So we're going to do that. And so we just take a color that's a little bit darker in contrast. I like to take purple as well. And we're just gonna draw in the sections of hair. I like to think of it as sections because it helps me draw the different lines without it looking a little too crazy. But yeah. You don't want to put too many in or it's going to look really complicated and we're going to get that same messy look we don't want. And we'll go back to the back here. Well, actually, let's draw this line in here. Like that. Now we can go to the back hair. It's hard for me to say that without laughing. But anyway, add in a couple strands wherever we want them. And ta-da! I think we're just about done. Yeah, I really like this. Oh, she has no eyebrows! Why do I always forget eyebrows? Let's do that on the front hair layer. Unlock the transparent pixels so we can add some more. Let's take this darker color and add these eyebrows. There we go! That's about it. I think that demonstrates what I'm trying to tell you. This was much longer than I anticipated, but I think it works really well, and I'd love to see what you guys come up with using this style. So if you come up with anything, shoot it my way, and I'll definitely take a look. So thank you guys for watching. Hope this helps someone, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye!